All right, thank y'all for coming out tonight. So this evening at about 6:45, 6:50, patrol officers were responding to what we call a 073, or an armed drug complaint. They came, cleared the call out, our task force members ended up coming over to do some surveillance work in that same area. And I'm going to let Chief Paul give you the details about what happened here tonight. Ultimately ended up in an officer-involved shooting. Chief.
Thank you, Sheriff. Yes, as the Sheriff said, the task force officers took over the call. They were in a covert vehicle, which would be not a marked police car. They did that so they could see if they could see some illegal activity coming from the residence where the complaint was coming from. A short time after they were sitting there, a male came from behind the vehicle, walked in front of the vehicle, and pointed a gun at the individuals in the car. The two officers in the car fired upon the suspect from inside the car. That was done at about 19-18 hours. They exit the vehicle. The suspect then runs, continues to fire at the officers. The officers fire back at the suspect, continue to chase him about 2 blocks. And at that point, the suspect goes and hides behind some cars. They call him out. They're behind cover. They call him out. He crawls out. They take him into custody. They render aid to him, and he is then taken to UF Health for treatment for his gunshot wounds. He was shot several times. The suspect, his name is Samuel DeAndre Cook, and that's C-O-O-K. He's a black male, date of birth of 10/26 of 1990, and he has arrests for drug sales and possession, resisting arrest, and he is a convicted felon. The officers involved in the shooting are R. Mills, M-I-L-L-S, ID of 76980. It is Officer Mills' first OIS, and he's been with the department for 9 years. The second officer is Officer S. Lyons, L-Y-O-N-S. His ID number is 84992. His second officer-involved shooting, and he has been with the Sheriff's Office for approximately 4 years. This is officer-involved shooting number 3 for the year, and the State Attorney's Office is on scene, and they are conducting their independent investigation. Any questions?
Sir, do we know what would cause this suspect to point a gun at officers and start a shootout?
That's a good question. He walked up to a car that was occupied, not knowing who was in it, and pointed a gun at the individuals inside who happened to be police officers.
And do you know how many shots, by the way, rang up from the officers to the suspect?
That's part of the investigation that cold case is doing now, but it's multiple shots. I just don't have an exact number right now.
Do you know the officers were hit by any chance, or any?
The officers were not hit. The officers are fine.
Any buildings, any cars that were hit, sir, by the bullets?
That's what cold case is also investigating, to see if there's any damage to any property around the area.
And also, is the suspect injured by any chance?
He has multiple gunshot wounds. He is injured at the hospital, and he's being treated at Shands.
Does it seem like he was shooting like at the back windows, or was he specifically shooting at the officers in the car?
He walked up to the front of the vehicle, pulled out a gun, pointed it at the windshield essentially, and the officer shot at him initially through the windshield. Then they exited the vehicle and started chasing him. He began shooting back at them again. They returned fire, and they had about, as I said, about a 2-block foot pursuit with him before they took him into custody.
So they had no contact with him prior to him walking up to the front of the car?
Correct.
Yeah.
No contact.
So his first shots were fired once he was running away?
Running away from the officers, yes.
Okay.
Sheriff, I just want to ask you, 3 officer-involved shootings. I know we're about 2 weeks into the year. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, I'm glad the police officers are okay, which is the most important thing for us. 2, don't pull guns on police. Because all these cases, all these situations involved handgun or firearms. And when our police officers show up, we know that's a possibility. We don't want that happening. Don't pull guns on the police. You won't get shot. If you pull a gun, you don't have to shoot it first. If you pull a gun when the police comes up, you're going to get shot. That's just what's going to happen. And this is what's happening in these cases. These guys are pulling out guns, firearms. It's a dangerous world. We're not playing games here. This is not tiddlywinks. This is real life. When we are responding to calls and we're doing things that we're doing, police actions, if you show up with a handgun or any kind of firearm, there's going to be a shootout, and you're going to get shot.
And also, Sheriff, we hear of these officer-involved shootings, but can you please talk about the officers or how they're doing, the fact that this happened to them in real time?
Yeah, these things are never easy. There's a process that takes place after it happens, and every police officer that's involved in one of these goes through it's a traumatic event. Their lives were in danger, or someone else's life was in danger, and when that happens, as you can imagine, it's a traumatic event for them. So they take administrative leave, they take time off, they see doctors before they come back to work. There's an entire process that takes place because, one, we're not sociopaths, we're not crazy people. We just want to serve our community, and that's what they're doing, and find themselves sometimes in very tough situations. And we know that's a possibility. We know that there's a possibility that this is going to happen, and we're just happy that these guys in this case and the other ones this year have gone home safely.
And also, two more questions. Is this an area that's known to have shootings in the area?
I mean, that's hard to tell. I mean, there's been shootings here, but there's shootings, unfortunately, in a lot of different places around town. We hope to continue to work to try to stop those shootings, and we're going to continue to try to do that. But, I mean, listen, we have them here. We have them in different parts of the city.
And also, last question is that, do you know what type of gun that was identified for the suspect that he was using? What type of gun it was?
I don't know that right offhand. It was a handgun. That's all I can tell you, with an extended magazine in it.
I know either of you can answer this. I know it was a drug complaint, but there were watch parties in the area. Just curious, could this be tied to any watch parties or any, JAGS hangouts? Just a question.
You don't know that. You don't get a chance to find that out. When you get a call, when you get a signal, 0 means armed, 73 means drugs. So that was the initial call that we got. They didn't find anything when they got here initially. The task force came in, started doing some surveillance to see if we could find out what was going on, and then it unfolded the way that it did.
So was there any indication that the suspect knew that they were officers? I know you mentioned it was an undercover vehicle. Were they wearing like undercover clothing as well?
There's no indication. We don't know that. That's part of the investigative process. But I don't think anyone should walk up to a car and point a gun inside the vehicle. When you do that, you're putting yourself at grave danger, or you're putting yourself in a situation where, if it is the police or anyone else for that matter, this is America. Citizens have the right to bear arms, and you might pull a gun on a citizen and get shot for doing that. It's a reasonable reaction, and that's what people are gonna do. And it's just not a wise thing to do, whether you know it's the police or not.
Thank you, Sheriff.
All right, thank y'all.